Don't do it. Don't do it. Woo! Don't. Nope. Oh,
let's go!
Dang it.
Right. I get so excited.
Yeah, for about 5 seconds, and then you lose your excitement. So, welcome in, everybody. With that primal scream you just heard was Michael, my co-host, and this is the Toddcast, as usual. Today we have a Todd he was the 13th Todd, correct? 13th episode.
The 13th Todd we've ever talked to.
Yes.
Oh, so, that's actually really cool because, as we know, my boyfriend's name is Todd.
Yes.
And he says that the number 13 is his favorite and lucky number because he was born on Friday the 13th. Ooh. So there's that. I didn't realize I was a 13.
Yeah, there's a bit of trivia for you.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was the 13th Todd. That's really cool. I have to let him know that because he would appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, so the 13th Todd, you've always very interactive with our post. Always, and obviously we had a splendid time last time. We had a lot of fun.
That was a great time.
It was easy to want you back on the show. So we're glad you obliged and you're here. Not against your will, right? You're here willingly.
Of course not. I would gladly do this a second or a third time.
Thank you.
But you won't be our unpaid intern.
That's true. Exactly.
And nobody gets that.
I don't.
Prior to the show, we tried to talk him into being our unpaid intern.
That's an inside joke that you will never learn about.
Yep, never.
We're keeping that locked up.
Yeah, but so the last time I noticed because I did the intro for the last episode, I remember referring to you as just a dude from St. Louis. But now,
yes,
your bio says just some dude from St. Louis with a fondness for sewing and Rocky Horror. So
that is correct. Yes.
What prompted the change?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, that was like a really weird accident. So I don't remember what exactly it was that I was doing, but I was trying to change something in my bio, and by some freak accident, I deleted what it originally said.
Oh no!
And I couldn't remember what I originally had there, and I was like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to have to wing it and just write something in there because you didn't mean to delete that. But it had also been so long since I had it there. And, it's not very often that you look at your own profile and look at what you have written there. And it just I somehow deleted it and I don't even know how that happened. And then I just kind of forgot. And I was like, well, I am just some guy from St. Louis and I do love sewing and I perform in Rocky Horror Picture Shows. So
usually
that's kind of how that happened.
Usually when you forget something, you try to rewrite it. You usually put less. So it was cool that you put more.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, you further elaborated.
I honestly don't even remember what was there before. So yeah,
we know everything. So, yeah. We keep tabs on all Todds.
I've got a vault in the back with so many files in there. So.
Okay, good to know. Good to know you're keeping tabs.
Yeah, it's good to hear you talk about the fondness for sewing. I remember you kind of flexed that shirt you made last time with us, and
this one too. I mean,
was that a flex?
Like in this, yes, that there you go.
Oh
right
no!
There
Do that! Yes.
Get to YouTube right now for the dancing tutorials.
This is gonna be banned from YouTube.
Yeah, so this shirt I actually made at the same time as I made the other tank top, the striped one. I made that one, and then there's another one that's like all pineapples and everything. So I did that too. So yeah,
man, pineapples on my blouse.
That's what I've always said.
Yeah.
What? No, I do love the dinosaur shirt. I think you should open that up to the public.
You don't like
trying to just rock out that unique style.
You don't like my crab shirt?
No. Was that from like a crab restaurant?
No, it's actually it's from Rockfit. They gave me targeted ads for like 3 months, and
you bought it.
It actually says weak grips sink ships, and it says respect the barbell. And I don't work out, so I don't know if I've even qualified to wear this shirt.
Respect the barbell, and you're wearing.
I liked it because of the crab.
Yeah, that
okay,
makes
so
sense.
clearly Brad is like that guy who, when it comes to like targeted ads, he's like, oh, I guess I will check that out and buy that. Like I'm the one who's just like, why is this in my feed?
Exactly.
I in my closet I have the shirt that says "Don't mess with a Libra who was born on this, who loves cars and sells candy bars in high school on Thursday. You know how they have
your
like that
occupation from Facebook?
It has like your social security number on it.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's like, how did they get all this information? They made a shirt for me? This is oddly specific, and I love it.
Yeah, those were always so weird to me. Some of them were like super cringe too.
Yeah.
Oh, very cringe. I can't tell you how many people I see on my Facebook that's like, oh, like never, date this kind of a sign. And it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
explain yourself.
Right. It's like, you realize this isn't a personality, right? Like, no, thank you.
But it is.
Yeah. Oh,
is it?
Is it though?
But you know what is?
We're
back to Todd's shirt with the dinosaurs. We need your words. I cut you off with my crab.
So like honestly, like, I don't know. I just thought it was like a really cute pattern. It was during the pandemic last year and I needed something to keep me busy. And, I went to fabric.com and looked up like all of the jersey knit, that they had. And this was just one of the patterns. And I was like, I've always liked anything that reminded me of being a kid and everything. And it was like, okay, what about having like a really cool like t-shirt that's like, it looks like it's for a kid, but it's in an adult size, So that's kind of how that kind of came about.
I dig it.
So I bought it, sewed it up together, and I was like, all right, well, that project took about 2 days. What next?
Oh, wow.
Now you need to stop working out to maintain that shirt, or it will not be.
Or I could just buy more fabric and make another one.
Yeah, and gift that one to me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Deal.
Mr. Barbell over here.
Yes, respect the barbell.
Yeah, Mr. Crab Barbell.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a dress on you, Brad.
Not the first time, won't be the last.
Oh goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So last time we had some notable parts. We heard you dropped a bunch of jellyfish knowledge on us when we asked about what flavor of jellyfish or jelly is in a jellyfish. Do you still have this amount of jellyfish knowledge, or has it dissipated since then, or have you gotten more?
I think it's probably about the same, but last December, I almost got stung by a jellyfish. So like I had a pretty close call, which was really interesting. And it was like, so because we went, Todd and I went to Florida for a vacation, and we were just at the beach, and I noticed, like, when I was walking along, I noticed there were a lot of jellyfish that were washed up on the shore. I'm like, what is that about? Like, why are there so many? Yeah. And it turns out that the ones that I was seeing were all man of wars, which they're probably not the most dangerous. No, actually, they're not. They're not the most dangerous jellyfish. I think the most dangerous is the box jellyfish, because those things are ginormous and quite deadly. But the really cool thing about the man of war is that they're this really beautiful blue color. So to look at them, they're really pretty. But then you see them like coming at you on a wave, and you're like, oh, gotta get out of the way.
Wait, see the jellyfish come at you on a wave? That'd be terrifying.
Well, I mean, so the thing that you have to remember is that, jellyfish, they are capable of swimming and everything, but they're not super strong swimmers like, like sharks and all that kind of stuff. Like, they can navigate, but then once they get too high up on the shore, or too high up to the level of, being close to the air and everything, when the waves are coming in, they just get swept up in that. Huh. So a lot of them were swept up on the shore, and I just happened to be out into the water, and I saw a wave coming at me, and I see this dark blue thing coming at me. I'm like, oh, great.
Punched it out of the water.
Oh, no, I ran. I ran like the wind. Because, like the water is so unpredictable, and then you can get, like, once the wave hits you, it can sweep you back out and everything. So not knowing the direction this thing was going to go, I had to, like, run to get out of the way. But I will say there was that segment that you were talking about with the stingrays and everything. And that I didn't almost step on the stingray, but I was walking out into the water and just happened to see it floating around in there, and then it was like, I don't know if it saw me or what, but it was there for a second, and then it was just gone. It went back deep into the ocean, and I was like, so I guess we are on the way to stingray pits.
I was hoping you reached in, picked it up, and frisbeed it further out into the ocean.
I would not dare.
Well, obviously,
they're good creatures.
Yeah, they're good. They're good people. Yeah, so from some of the facts you dropped about jellyfish, it seems like your jellyfish knowledge is it's deep.
It's deep.
Well, I love animals in general. I love animals in general, and I just remember, jellyfish are one of those creatures that are very, very misunderstood, I think. And it was something that I don't really feel like I sort of just, really researched anything. It was more so that I just happened upon some of the knowledge about them because I found them to be very interesting, and just because of the fact that it's like, they essentially are predators to a certain degree. But I mean, then again, like unless you're like an herbivore, like what kind of an animal wouldn't necessarily be a predator to something else? It's all about that life cycle. But it's just they're very, very interesting creatures in general. And there's actually a type of jellyfish that doesn't have stingers, apparently. I don't remember what kind, but I will say though, I think it was the kind that I said would be like a peach flavored jelly. Those are the ones that don't sting. They're like a orangish, like a peachy orange kind of color.
Well, speaking of weird things about a jellyfish, there's also one that is immortal. Did you know this?
What?
There's an immortal jellyfish called the
immortal things.
Teratopsis dorni. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what Google says. It's the immortal jellyfish, and it can go back in time to be younger.
What?
The only way
I'm not buying this for a second.
I'm with Todd here.
All right. I'll share this one when the episode comes out.
What's the non-scientific name for this jellyfish?
Yeah.
Immortal jellyfish. That's what it says here. It doesn't die.
I'm going to Google right now.
These small transparent animals hang out in oceans around the world and can turn back time by reverting to an earlier stage of their life cycle.
I think you're...
That's from science.org.au.
Yeah, that's an org.
Yeah, it's an organization from Australia. You don't trust Australia? Todd Fowler?
The immortal jellyfish that resets when damaged. What in the world?
Yeah, wow. You're welcome.
Yo, that's your next shirt with this immortal jellyfish all over it. No? All right.
Sometimes I feel like an immortal jellyfish.
I would take time to read this, but that's like a full article. We don't have that kind of time here. We have a whole show to do.
That's some toilet reading for the future. So, but speaking of toilets, this episode it's full of questions. They may not be good. Some of them are bad. But one of the questions I want to leave the listeners: who would win in a fight? The like button on YouTube or the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts? That's for the listeners out there. So see what you can do.
Like, I feel like without a doubt, the like button. I mean, like it's like people who leave reviews, like that is a special segment of the population.
Those are good people.
Like,
those are great people.
Those are great people.
I honestly think that the only time in which I've ever left a review for anything was for like my Uber driver.
Oh,
so we need to drive your Uber. We need to drive you around to get a review out of you. I'll come pick you up right now. Where are we going?
We're gonna start giving out free Uber rides.
Well, that's what we should do.
That's a pretty expensive trip considering I'm in St. Louis and you're in North Carolina or South Carolina. I forget.
North,
yeah.
North Carolina.
Oh, new podcast idea. You and I become Uber drivers, and everybody we pick up is now the guest.
Oh, and they just, what is this, like the trivia taxi thing where you just
dang,
enter
okay,
and you're like, wait, what the heck?
Oh, I forgot that was
that's
a show.
That's already a show.
Yeah, never mind then.
Cash Cab.
I'm sorry.
We won't do
I
trivia
don't think Cash Cab was a different kind of show, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's all trivia questions. Like we would just
It's all trivia, but you would win money like...
Yep.
Like if you got all the answers right.
Oh yeah, we don't give out money.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something way different. But I don't want to explain what it is. But yeah, so that was a question for the listeners. Kind of let us know. Are you gonna like this YouTube or video on YouTube more, or are you gonna leave more reviews? Let us see. But now it's time for our questions to be asked by our guest in our first segment.
Now it's Todd's turn.
All right, Todd, we've prodded you before. Now it's your turn to prod us with some questions, of course. So riddle them off and we'll see what happens here.
Okay, so are we doing this one at a time?
The floor is yours. However you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you
All right,
direct us.
I have 3 questions, and my first question is something that I'm going to pose it to both of you, but I think that it could also be posed to the listeners. Would you rather go to space with Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos?
Oh, CEO entrepreneur, born in 1964. We got Jeff Bezos there. Or
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make it easy. I don't really like Jeff Bezos. I don't know why.
I think Elon Musk, you would have way more interesting conversations, like very philosophical. I feel like Bezos might be more just like business minded and just talk about, like growing a business. Whereas Elon's going to be like, the next, he's like, I want to go take over this galaxy over here next. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, and Bezos is like, I'm going to just open up, like, I'm going to pay Amazon drivers less.
Which conversation would you rather be having?
Just right. I forgot we weren't supposed to talk about controversial topics on here. My bad.
Goodness.
Take that, Bezos.
I don't know. Is it controversial if most people agree? I don't know.
It's controversial if it's facts.
Yeah. So Elon Musk. I mean, he sounds fun.
Yeah, I would enjoy my time up there. Is it like just us and Elon Musk and that's it?
Well, it's probably a crew.
I mean, I imagine that there would be a crew, but I guess more than anything, like, who do you think would be the safest bet as far as like if something went wrong? Who would be the one that helped you survive?
Well, I think Elon would take us to dangerous places. Bezos would play it safe.
Yes.
Elon would be like, let's push the limits. Let's go over here, and then we end up in a black hole or something. Bezos is like,
that's one hell of a way to go.
I guess.
I wouldn't be upset with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, question number 2. What is the most fun fact that each of you have learned about the Todds that you've interviewed on this show?
Oh, man.
There's so many. The first,
or maybe like which one? Maybe if it's not the most fun fact, which is the one that probably stands out the most to you?
One of the first ones that came to front of mind was Todd Ryan Jones encountering The Rock. He was a stuntman.
Oh yes,
and he worked on set with The Rock, and The Rock shoved a banana in his mouth.
Yep.
So I think that was one of the first ones that popped up in my head.
One of the most bizarre stories
I was like, wait, what?
We've ever heard.
I was like, oh.
Interesting. Okay. And
it was.
Oh man!
And what about you, Michael?
Like something interesting on top of the episodes. I mean, we've had some really, really interesting people on here.
Yeah, because I'm pulling back from like Todd Anthony Tyler's. He was talking about like that princess. He did a photo shoot.
Oh yeah, he did a photo shoot for like an Indian princess somewhere, and like and he also like told us a story where that was it, where he was just hanging out. I forget what country, like he was in Germany or something. And then they just started like shooting guns out of the window from like this kitchen they were in, just like this completely random, wild scenario. Like he just had such cool stories from traveling the world. It made me want to travel, which is
Todd Fowler with the guy that burned his own house. Remember that one?
He had a neighbor that just like
burned his house down,
burned his backyard, lit his backyard on fire. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
We need to compile like one of this is a good idea. We need to compile a bunch of these like fun facts.
These crazy stories.
Like some of the fun stories and compile them into like a little video montage. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Where's our unpaid intern to jot this down?
Where's that unpaid intern?
All of the Todds are your unpaid intern. There you are. They give you all the things you need right there.
He's on to us.
We're all your unpaid interns right here.
There's about to be a revolt.
Yeah. He's like, now you're making me write the questions? What's happening here? What show am I on?
Okay, so I'll wait for Brad to finish writing.
Oh, I was trying to spell montage. I think I wrote mortgage.
I think it's M-O-N-T. I think it's M-O-N-T-A-I-G-E. IGE, or it might not have the I. I feel like there's an I in there, though.
I left the I off, so.
I think I don't know that there's an I. There might be. I feel like it's one of those words where it's like there's an I in there for no reason. I don't know.
Montage.
Okay. So my last question is probably I think it's my favorite one, just because I really want to I want to pick people's brains about this because I just think it's really cool. So I'm a 90s kid, born in 86, grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
And I feel like that's every, decade, as far as, at least with music, has like a certain kind of sound that goes with it. And if you hear like certain music from that time, you can pretty much pinpoint when it came from and everything. However, the same thing is not true for film. I feel like, films might have a certain look just based on, what kind of technology we had at the time and based on like the clothing that they wear. But I feel like the 90s had this really cool sort of thing that took place. So like the question is, what do you think is the wackiest 90s film premise that shouldn't have worked but did? And I know that seems very that seems like an odd question, but I'll let you know what my favorite is, and that would be Sister Act. So basically you have this woman who is going into witness protection after witnessing her boyfriend kill someone, but she's not in just your normal, witness protection. She is in a convent and she has to pretend to be a nun. And as miserable as she is, she somehow still finds a way to, live life and have a good time by teaching these women how to sing and change their lives as nuns. And it's like, these two things should not go together, but they did, and it somehow worked. And I felt like the 90s, especially with comedy, a lot of those films, like they put these things, they combine these two ideas together that shouldn't really work, but they just did. And you end up with all of these very memorable films. Even if they weren't like huge box office hits, they were still memorable, and you really at least kids anyway, really, really love them. So I want to know which of those do you think had the wackiest premise that shouldn't have worked but did?
I got mine, Michael. You ready?
You roll with it.
So it's a popular film that everyone loves. I think it took way too many turns and was probably the weirdest movie I've ever seen. But it's Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah, because not only it doesn't have, it follows a life of somebody. It follows another person's life. It follows two people's lives. It's just weird because he's like in Vietnam. He's meeting the president. He's a ping pong guy. Like there's so many crazy different things that he achieved. He was on the Alabama football team. He was the person that did he was like the top tier of every single thing. And then like the whole thing with Jenny and what happens with her, and then they have like a kid, and like the whole thing is just insane. Who sat there and made all these twists and turns in this movie?
Yeah.
Like it's not wacky. Really, it's just like crazy.
It's interesting too, because I would have never even thought of Forrest Gump as being that kind of thing, but I do see what you're saying about pitching this. If you were a movie producer or a writer or a script writer and you were trying to pitch this to a studio, having to put all of that information together and hope that they are oh yeah, that's a real good idea. Let's run with it. You know what I'm saying? I can see that whole thing.
So this kid that was mentally and somewhat physically handicapped grows up and does everything that anybody has ever set out to do, but then ends up getting a lady with AIDS pregnant or HIV, and then she has a kid. It's just a crazy. Well,
there's even some speculation that
there's a bunch of drug use, right?
There's some speculation that the kid wasn't even really his, just because of the fact that the timeline doesn't really add up, right? So it's it's possible that she just dumped her kid on him because of the fact that she knew that she was going to die, and she wanted to make sure that he was in good hands, and Forrest was that person rather than the person who actually did get her pregnant. But it's speculation. I'm not going to go there, but yeah, I have no idea.
Oh wow.
So what about you, Michael?
Oh man, this one was kind of tough. I'm thinking Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I was going to say Flubber.
I thought of that one too.
Flubber is a great one too. Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, Yeah, that's just so, like, how do you not know? Like, if Brad walked into my house in a costume,
Hello!
I'm like, what's up,
Hey.
Brad? Like,
What's up, man?
What's up? Especially, like, someone you've been married to, had kids with.
Yeah, you and I have been married and we've had kids together, so you would know.
What?
You would know exactly that.
I
hey,
would
this
know
is-
it. Exactly. No, I'm saying, like, if I can spot you out, like, how did she not figure out, oh, this is my ex-husband? Yeah, it was just a bizarre premise.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It is a very bizarre premise, and then that was also one that I did think of. And there's two others that I thought of, and I was wondering if either of you would get it, or not maybe get it, but if you even remembered it. But do you remember Blank Check?
Ooh.
Was that Dana Carvey?
It wasn't.
he
No,
in
so
that?
Blank Check. It was a '90s kids movie, and it was all about this little. It was just about this little kid who was just sort of rambunctious and was skateboarding in a parking lot, and either he got hit by a car or the guy who was driving thought that he hit him. And so the guy was so scared that, he was going to get sued that he just gives this kid a blank check. He's like, write whatever amount you want on here and, just don't sue me type of a thing. Well, then it was also really good with computers. He was all of like maybe 7, but was really good with computers and somehow was able to like scam like $1 million onto this check. And he becomes a millionaire overnight. And he sort of like lives this double life. Like he creates this persona called Mr. Macintosh that everyone was like wanting to know who is Mr. Macintosh. He's like this, this person that no one has ever really seen, but he's really rich and he bought all this big mansion and he's got all of these really cool things that kids would love and all this stuff. But the whole time, Mr. Macintosh was this little kid. It wasn't like this big box office smash, but it was one of those films that people remembered and that they, a lot of kids remembered and really loved and everything, but it wasn't like huge. And then the other one was Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that
it was
that
about
one
a kid. Which is about about a little 12-year-old kid. His arm breaks, and suddenly he becomes a pitcher for the Cubs. Like, like there's
that's how life works.
There's no reason why that movie should have ever been made, or should have even worked, but it just did.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. And again, it wasn't a box office smash or anything, but it was one of those films that was sort of beloved by children. Yeah. And the same thing with Home Alone. If you tried to pitch Home Alone in 2021, if you tried to pitch Home Alone in 2021, guarantee you it would not be a comedy. It would be a
suspense thriller
because it would be like this horrible like psychological thriller. These guys are like trying to kill this little kid for some reason, and it would just be nightmarish. But because it was the 90s, you were able to make it into a comedy, and it was really, really great. So it's just like when you put these two things together, or sometimes even 3 ideas together that just shouldn't work, but then they just do. And I think that was such a 90s thing.
Even Space Jam.
Space Jam,
cartoons,
that was,
and then the NBA. It was
and Bill Murray
and aliens and aliens
too. Yes.
Like what? There was absolutely no reason why that film should have worked. And I honestly didn't think that it was all that popular, but apparently it was. And I was like,
it was a cult classic.
Oh, I had the Space Jam comforter or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I was all in on
Space
Jam. We still have that. Yeah.
The last movie the last movie I can think of is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids too.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And didn't they shrink the kids again? Wasn't there a second one?
You kept shrinking everybody.
Okay, so there was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then there was Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
What?
It was the reverse.
Oh,
it was the reverse. So it was interesting. It was the same couple.
Yeah.
And all of their kids, I guess they only. I think, okay. So they had in the first film, the scientist husband and wife, they had 2 kids. They had the one son with the dark hair and glasses, and then his older sister was the blonde girl, right? Mm-hmm. So in Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, there was a third kid that they had, and the older sister had moved out. the younger brother was still there, but then he had a younger brother who I think was like maybe like a year old.
Yeah, it was an infant.
He got hit with the laser, and then he became this giant, and it was all about trying to get him back and like shrink him down to the size that he was originally. So there was a sequel, and then I feel like so there was a sequel, and then there was a TV show.
They made a TV show out of that?
Yes. It didn't do very well. It was one of those things where it's like you blink and you miss it. It was like maybe I feel like I was living in Florida at the time that it came out. Maybe I wasn't, but it was like somewhere around 1997, 1999, somewhere between there. There was like a 1-season show of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but like I don't remember what the storyline was exactly, because I don't remember it being a situation where like the family was shrunk for a whole season and trying to get back to a bigger size or anything. But I feel like I remember there was like a brief TV show where it was that same cast, but I don't remember exactly what the premise was, because I don't think that they were shrunk in that entire time. So I don't know. Man,
what a silly. I remember I did the ride at Disney World or whatever, and then like that got shrunk. That scared me. It was like 4-dimensional or whatever. So there were like rats that came out and it like touched your feet, and I was not chill.
I remember that. Yes, I forget that was at Universal Studios, I think.
Yes,
because I remembered because I remembered sitting in the seat and like the mice running over your feet. It was like. It was almost like an air hose that was like hitting your Achilles heel, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it was
my feet were up the entire rest of the time. It was. Yeah. I was like, those are actual rats that they were like. I was so young to where like my mind was like, oh, that's what they're doing right now. And
that's
I remember that too.
That sounds terrible. I'm glad I was poor and never got to go on vacation.
Oh my goodness. Well,
you missed out. It was good.
Well, you know what Brad never misses the opportunity to do?
What is that?
It's time to prod Todd.
Yay!
Kudos.
Nice 80s transition music.
Yeah, that's how we do. We live in the 80s. Yeah, but you've been here before. We're gonna spare no time, and we're gonna kick off with the first question here. It's kind of a scenario based question. All three of us have to rob a bank. What job are you giving each of us to make it successful?
Okay. All right. So, Michael, I feel like you are sort of like
the bullet shield.
You're sort of like the brains of the operation. So, like, I honestly don't see myself being the person that is like. That's like, okay, this is the plan. I have it all, mapped out and everything. I feel like you would be that person. You're the one who has like the blueprints of the building because you worked there or something. And like where all the special alarms are and where all the cameras are and how to make sure that we are like, so basically you're the ringleader. All right. Okay. So Brad, you would certainly be the person that would like,
gets coffee.
You're like you're holding the gun, but you're also like crazy nervous. So like you're kind of like shaky about it. Like, oh crap! Like I'm really holding a gun in someone's face. I'm gonna die. Like this is not good. And then of course,
is accurate.
Me being me. I'm the muscle of the whole.
Yeah, you
group.
are.
So of course I have to be the person. I have to be the person that Brad can't be. Basically, so like
I have a gun and he's forced to choke people out to get to like where he needs to go.
Well, like I would be the person that has the bigger gun that's just like, dude, like get that money out of that drawer. Like I'm over here, I've collected from 3 tellers. Get that guy. Like this.
I'm like apologizing to people. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I know. Times are hard.
Like you would be the one that would be the reason that we almost get caught.
Yeah.
If not for me, like slapping you upside the head and being like, all right, let's go. You would be the reason that we almost get caught. Sorry, Brad, I love you.
Hey, it's okay. I am with it, but I'm going to throw a curveball in here.
Ooh.
Pick a celebrity to be our getaway driver.
Oh,
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, okay. You may be surprised by this answer, but Charlize Theron.
Okay.
I'm
Hey,
going with Charlize Theron.
I'll let her drive me around.
Have you seen The Italian Job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when
sense.
it came to that film, I remembered watching. I think it was her and Mark Wahlberg were on TRL maybe, and they were talking about shooting the film and everything, or they were on some MTV show where they were talking about shooting, and they all were driving. They were all driving their cars and everything, and. You know, she apparently was the one who was the best driver out of almost everyone, because apparently Mark Wahlberg was trying to drive the car and with all the drifting and turns and all that kind of stuff. Apparently at one point he got out of the car and threw up, and she's just laughing at him this is easy, let's do this, you know. So Charlize Theron is going to be my lady. That she's going to be our getaway driver. I'm going with that.
Solid pick. I think we've got a plan here.
Yes.
Let's
execute.
It sounds like I have the least legal liability, so I'm chill with that too.
I'm the only person that gets caught.
Yeah, Brad's the only one.
I don't know. You're the ringleader. You're the one who had all the blueprints. They're going to know. It had to be a previous employee to know how this bank was set up. So you're going to come in there at some point.
I'm just gonna tell him, hey, he did all this.
Brad's the tattletale of the group.
I was just here. I missed the getaway car, so I'm stuck there.
Oh, goodness. All right, so this next question we have for you is a classic would you rather. Would you rather develop an allergy to all animals or an allergy to your favorite foods and drinks? You were talking about how you're an animal lover earlier.
Yeah.
So this might be a very cruel question.
Yeah, his face says it all.
Yeah, he looks upset.
This is really going to happen as well once you answer it.
Oh my God. Okay, so
all animals.
I'm going to go with all animals.
Yeah.
Because Benadryl.
Yes.
My favorite foods and drink. Okay, so you have to understand, I'm a very picky eater. I'm that person that will go to a restaurant and not choose something because it has one thing on it that I don't like.
Oh wow.
And I love animals so much, and typically when it comes to animal allergies, it's usually the symptoms are usually sneezing and congestion. Every once in a while, puppy eyes, depending on the animal. Very seldom is it a deadly situation, unless it's bees, and even then you'd have to get stung by a million of them. But it would have to be animals, because at least I could take a Benadryl and be all right, I can breathe just fine now. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. I can still go for a walk, and I love dogs so much. I want a puppy. It would have to be all animals. I could not handle not being able to drink whiskey. I could not be able to handle not being able to eat pizza or cheese. Oh my God. I love
regular cheese.
Regular cheese.
Oh,
regular cheese.
Regular cheese. We have come full circle. We have come full circle on your regular cheese, Brad.
Hey, I stand by it. Regular cheese.
Yeah, Brad can't be allergic to regular cheese.
I know. It's all I eat.
Your cheddar or American cheese on your pizza.
What a rookie move.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah, the animals is the way to go. And then jellyfish too. I mean, screw those.
I mean, who isn't allergic to jellyfish? I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
Who gets stung by a jellyfish and was didn't even feel a thing? Yeah, okay.
That was pleasant.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, so this is a top 3. Ooh. So give us your top 3 ice cream flavors.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Top 3 ice cream flavors. Okay. So number 3.
Oh.
Ooh, inverse.
All right. Number 3 is going to be...
Dinosaur.
Oh, okay. All right. So there is a... All right, I'm shameless plug. There is an ice cream shop down the street and around the corner from this house that I'm in right now. It's called Clementine's. It's really great. And they have this it's a salted caramel.
Oh, yes.
Ice cream. It's really good. And I think I feel like they actually had one at one point that it was called like the salted cracker caramel, because like it was like a caramel ice cream and it had pieces of Ritz cracker in it. It was amazing. It was. I know it doesn't sound like it should go together, but it did. Salty, it was just so good. It's sweet and salty. It's just amazing. So like that would be number 3. And granted, just to be clear, like that ice cream is very, very good. But actually, no, that's going to number 2. Number 3 is number 3 is Edie's French Silk. Number 3 is Edie's French Silk. Number 2 is the Clementine's salted caramel ice cream, which is really delicious. My number 1 will always be any sort of chocolate mint ice cream. Okay, mint chocolate. Oh my God, I love me some mint chocolate ice cream. I want some right now, and I don't have any.
I love whenever I drop my toothpaste in my chocolate ice cream, and then I eat it afterwards.
Don't hate on the mint chocolate ice cream.
No, and that's...
Have you had any good mint chocolate ice cream, Brad?
Apparently not.
He just gets a tube of toothpaste and mixes it in with his chocolate ice cream.
I ate a Hershey's bar. And it's not even ice. No,
you just brush your teeth too soon after eating chocolate. No, but I'm going with you, Todd. Mint chocolate chip is right up there for me. It's a classic. It's super refreshing. It's a little spicy because of the mint. That's so weird. It's probably not spicy, but it's just
terrible descriptor.
Refreshing.
So for me, it's very refreshing. But here's the really cool thing about mint ice cream for me. It's that so during the summertime, like eating ice cream in general is always going to be a pleasurable thing just because it's already hot outside and you're eating something that's really cold. But there's something about mint, like even though it's not necessarily something that's cold on its own, it definitely sort of opens up
it opens
up like your pores and everything, and it makes everything feel cold. And so having it already be cold and mint, it just cools you off that much more. And it's refreshing, it's clean. And it's all, and then like depending on where you get it from, sometimes the mint ice cream is green, which is even cooler. Because like you don't see green ice cream every day, but when you do, it's mint every time.
Yep. And one of my friends one time like went out, bought mint and like made homemade ice cream like with fresh mint. Oh my, with fresh mint in there, that is a freaking game changer. It was delicious.
It's basically
that's huge.
Yo, that was out of control.
Yeah.
Good.
It's like eating a bowl of Vicks Vapor Rub.
That's what
I've heard right now.
All right, Michael. Your goal this summer is to tie him down to a chair and force feed him mint ice cream until he likes it.
We'll go Instagram live.
He is hating. Hater.
Yeah, this is out of control. Oh man. But yeah, mint chocolate chip. And challenge accepted for Brad. And I got moose tracks on there. There's just a lot going on in moose tracks. You got those mini peanut butter cups that are just like this amazing texture and peanut butteriness that I desire out of ice cream. And I'm going to bring it home with some French vanilla.
Okay.
I know that. That might be anticlimactic, but I love a good French vanilla. It's
Is that your number 1?
No, that's number 3. I did top to bottom there, and with a little chocolate syrup on there.
Yeah, well, that's that. I will say that when it comes to vanilla, there is it has it has that special something about it because of the fact that you can dress it up if you wanted to. If it's not enough for you, you can dress it up a little bit, put little things here and there into it that would make it something a little bit more. I mean, French vanilla is already flavorful on its own, but then adding to it, it's like a blank canvas, and you can add to it, and you can add as much as you want to it, and it still be really good because underneath you still have that vanilla. So yeah, I mean, there's something to it.
Yeah,
but I think for me, I haven't been as much as I like to create things or build things or mend things. I haven't really gotten there with food experimentation yet. Alcohol, yes. Sewing, yes. Building, putting together any food kind of thing with instructions, puzzles in general, I can do that. But puzzles. I haven't gotten there with ice cream yet.
You'll get there.
Well, I'm gonna get there.
Brad.
3 of the best ice cream flavors that have ever been invented.
Oh my.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Caramel ripple.
Excuse me?
I think that's what it's
period? It's just caramel ripple?
Yep. It's a vanilla ice cream with like caramel ripples and
Okay.
Yeah, it's caramel and
It sounds
vanilla.
Whatever.
Cookies and cream.
You sound so passionate about these picks.
And I'm gonna bring it home with regular vanilla.
The regular.
Okay, wait. Did we start at number 1 and go to number 3, or did we go from number 3 to number 1?
I went from 3 to 1.
These are his bottom 3.
Really? Okay. You are very much what your ice cream choices say about you, for me anyway. You have a very high school state of mind about ice cream. I'm just gonna put it that way.
You're reading like a book. You just zoom in on yourself.
But here's the thing. My brother growing up, those ice cream flavors that you just mentioned, that would have been like his picks back at that time. And that's all I'm reminded of. You remind me of like a high school, like the really cool high school kid, but like that was his choice. And like
so
cookies and cream. Yes. Like if you mention cookies and cream in high school, everyone's like, oh yeah, that's so cool. But it's like, step your game up, man. Like let's bring it up a little bit more.
Dude.
It's time to get some mint ice cream in his life, Michael.
Yo, get that out of my face. Yeah. I like my ice cream like I like my pizza. Very regular, I guess. I like pizza with pepperonis on it or cheese.
I mean, I won't lie to you. When it comes to pizza, I'm very basic. I will totally get pepperoni and sausage, or sausage and bacon with spinach or something. But like spinach for me, like on a pizza, that's as inventive as I get. Put anything else on that thing, and I'm like, what for?
I have enough choices. I have enough choices in life. I don't need to complicate it with pizza and vanilla ice cream. So
well, you're talking about pizza toppings. I want us all to go around, pick one ice cream topping.
Okay.
Best one.
Who are we starting with?
Todd.
We're putting you on the hot seat, Todd.
Okay, so when it comes to ice cream toppings, I really like texture. So to be perfectly honest with you, like it's either going to be sprinkles, and for some reason chocolate sprinkles specifically, or it's going to be I had like Captain Crunch once as a topping. That was amazing. So
Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Mine was Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles.
I grew up with
Fruity
Pebbles and vanilla. Like, I talked about this on the show a while back. But it's just Fruity Pebbles and vanilla. It just mixed together. It's basically cereal, but your milk is frozen. Your milk is frozen. Your milk.
Oh, you missed that. Here comes Brad to my house. Oh, hey, Brad.
Oh, hey.
So actually, this is a very bad answer, but it's what I do every time. Like if I go to a froyo shop, I get gummy bears in there.
They're
delicious, but they get so hardened.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let me eat these rocks.
Well, they do, because it's like a gelatin. So yeah, like I don't know what it is for me, but for some reason I feel like fruit and dairy just should not go together, and I don't know why. And sure, Fruity Pebbles and gummy bears, they're not fruit, but they are fruit flavored. Sure. And there's just something about fruit and dairy that I'm like, no. Like
I will never take you for ice cream.
Even chocolate covered strawberries, I'm kind of like,
oh man, those are good.
Like it's okay, but I think like a strawberry on its own is
they're already sweet enough, right?
You know? Yeah, like I don't need to add chocolate to it. Like there's just something about the combination of fruit and dairy that just doesn't do it for me. I wish that it did, but it just doesn't. Like I remember even seeing like strawberry milk, and I'm like, why?
Oh, I used to love that.
Who's drinking this?
Yeah, I feel like you don't see that much anymore, and I feel like that's for good reason. Oh, man. Well, speaking of strawberry milk, would you rather only be able to grow a mustache or only be able to grow a mohawk? Speaking of strawberry.
Mohawk.
Oh yeah.
Mohawk all the way.
Yeah. So this Mohawk is like no hair, just hair in the strip. Is that cool with you?
Mohawk.
We're not talking faux hair.
Okay. I said what I said.
Did he stutter?
All the way. Like,
fair enough.
Like mustache, barf. No.
Barf.
Mohawk,
barf.
All the way. Like, you have to understand, like, as a little, like, so there's a photo of me somewhere when I was a baby. So, like, no. So, as a baby, like, okay, so as you can see, my hair is very, very dark. It's dark brunette.
Yep.
But when I was a baby, it was like strawberry blonde.
Oh.
And there's a photo of me as a baby where, like, for some reason, it was like, to me, I looked a little bit like Mr. T, but like I had like hair here, but nothing there. And then like this big strawberry blonde mohawk right down the middle. It was amazing. And yeah, like that is that mohawk.
Let it ride.
Like, no, without a doubt. Like, who have you ever seen with a mohawk and didn't think that dude's badass? Like, really?
Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Even like, yeah, he's still with a mohawk. Like
I'm a little more intimidated of him if I saw him with the mohawk. I'd be like, oh, okay, what's up?
You're gonna beat me up.
I wouldn't, but I think it's only. I don't think that I would be, mostly because, like, if you look at him, he's really scrawny and he's not that tall. So it's like I feel like I could like pick him up and toss him if I wanted to. So
child.
But the mohawk's like he had like the spiky mohawk too.
You could break it off and stab you with it.
Just takes one off and that runs away.
Who is he? Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I don't think I could rock a mohawk. I think it'd be mustache on my front.
I'm rocking this. I'm rocking the stash as well.
I got gray hair going on here. I'm not trying to be some gray haired mohawk.
I don't know, but you're also blonde, so like I think that it would work on you.
Yeah,
and
that's
also,
an optical illusion.
But also, just because it's a mohawk doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to like stand upright. Like the way that your hair is right now, Michael, like you could totally wear it that way and just have nothing on the side. That would be totally fine. And then Brad, I don't know what your issue is. Like
I have no hair.
You would look incredible with a mohawk. Wait, you don't have any hair? There's no hair.
Go get hair plugs just in your center. Be like, no, please bring that in.
Wait, is that like by choice or by nature? I'm curious.
Oh, that's
it's by nature forcing me to be bald. So
interesting. Like,
do you think I would choose this life?
Well, I mean, did you look at your dome? I mean, like it's pretty perfect.
It's a solid dome.
I mean, it's made,
and it's beautiful. I would have never expected that there was no hair under there, but that kind of happens though. Like there is something about seeing men in hats. Like you just have no idea what's going on.
It's such a mystery. I'm so mysterious.
Like when I worked in customer service, I used to see like people with like I would see guys with their hats on or whatever, and for whatever reason, whether it was like they were buying alcohol or they were using a credit card, like I would need to ask for their ID. Yeah. And then I see their ID and I'm like, so that's what's going on under there. Oh,
so that's what's going on.
No, like I had no clue. Like you would just never, I would have never thought, Brad, that you were bald. But
well, thank you. I know.
You have a beautiful dome. Like I would say
it's a solid dome, straight up egg. But like, I wish I had hair. Hairy egg.
You want my gray hair?
Yeah, we'll split it up.
We'll split.
I don't know. I think that you would look pretty good gray though, Brad.
Yeah. If I had hair, it would be cool. I can't be gray now.
I mean, but you still.
I can grow these sides out and make them gray, and just have this top bald. Look like Kevin Malone from The Office.
That's a look you can definitely rock.
Yeah. So. Oh God. Enough about my baldness and more about choosing your roommate.
Ooh.
So choose your roommate. Squidward.
I love the roommate one.
Or Simon Cowell.
Oh.
Squidward or Simon Cowell.
They both have.
Oh God. Okay,
so
my initial reaction was going to be, Squidward initially, but then like I'm thinking about Simon Cowell and considering how much I love music, and he's such a critic on music and everything, but that also means that he has really good taste in music too. So it's like I know that like we could jam out to some good tunes while cleaning or something, and he could introduce me to new artists that I never would have thought about.
Do you remember like, Justin Guarini? He allowed that to go through. So I don't know if his criticisms are that good.
Ooh.
But wasn't Justin Guarini wasn't he a really good singer? He just had a really weird look.
He was
kind of a victim of the early aughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he latched on to Kelly Clarkson for the whole ride. So
don't
get me started. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. So I don't. Oh God, and for sure. You know what? I'm going with Simon Cowell because you know what? Squidward, if you really think about it, that man is like clinically depressed. Like that would just get old very fast.
Chill though. He's sad, but he's chill.
He's chill. Okay, he's chill, but he's chill, but then he's gonna whine about having to pay the rent every month. No.
Actually,
yeah, as much as people really dislike Simon Cowell and everything, final answer. Simon Cowell will be my final answer because I know that he paid the rent.
Yeah, he's got good money.
He's rich.
Yeah, Squidward. I don't know what he's still a cashier at the Krusty Krab. He's not making minimum wage.
Basically,
he's gonna get his freaking that head house freaking repoed.
What?
Oh God! Man. That's right. He sleeps. His house is made out of Stonehenge or something.
Yeah, it's Stonehenge head.
Yeah.
Where did they come up with that?
Duh.
It's a there's no connection.
Well, consider the fact that this is a sponge that is living and has a starfish for a best friend and an astronaut squirrel for a girlfriend.
That's cool.
We're not talking about the most realistic premise here.
I don't know.
And this is a show that came out after the 90s. So
it debuted in 99.
Oh,
did it really?
Barely made it.
Yeah, it was
barely made it.
I remember being 9 years old.
Tail end of 99?
Yeah, well, it was like the middle. It was like as school went out, I was like, oh, it's not 5th grade anymore. I'm gonna watch SpongeBob.
Well, I will say this: I still don't consider that a 90s cartoon.
How dare you? What about Hey Arnold?
No. Oh yeah, Hey Arnold.
But they came out at the same time.
No, Hey Arnold came out around 1996, maybe 95, is when Hey Arnold came about. I remember that specifically.
I will,
because that was one of my favorite cartoons in the 90s. Just saying.
That was 100% earlier. What?
SpongeBob. I tried to type in SpongeBob. I typed SpongeBob.
Okay. So type in Hey Arnold, guarantee you.
It was 96.
You'll find it.
It was 96. Oh, I'm telling you what. When
I was 10 years old.
Trivia
I remember that.
Yeah.
This is going down.
All right. So
we're flying you out, Todd.
Good answer.
All right, done.
Just for a $25 gift card.
Yep. And you know what? I wouldn't say that I'm super good at trivia, but I played on a couple trivia teams a few years ago, and I definitely won us at least 2 of those games. So just putting that out there.
Just throwing it out there. I mean, just humble brag is all.
Well, now that questions have been answered, it's time to move on to our next segment.
Once upon a Todd.
You got something to say there, Brad?
I thought you were going to talk less, Michael. I was trying to pick up as soon as you ended and you kept talking, so...
I'm sorry. I'm just enjoying our guest's presence.
I'm enjoying it as well, but I was trying to help.
We have a show here.
Sorry.
Oh, goodness. All right, well, Once Upon a Todd. This is where we just want to get... goodness, I don't know how to speak.
Get what? We're trying to get what over here?
We want to figure out how you've been and what's been going on since the last episode, since we caught up.
Okay, so I'm still at the same job that I was in and everything. So that's been going really well. I don't know. I'm trying to think what things have really changed lately.
Yeah. 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow,
it's really hard to say. I mean, because I will say that when we first did the show, it was sort of like still in like the middle of the pandemic and everything, so there wasn't a whole lot that we could do. But then there were a couple of travels that we did. So we went to Arkansas a couple times together, Todd and I. And for those of you who don't know me, my boyfriend is also named Todd, so there's that. We took a couple trips down to Arkansas. We took a vacation in Fort Lauderdale in December. So that was a really great time. I mean, there's really like it's hard to really say how, if anything, has really changed all that much, because it was hard for there to be any sort of thing to really sort of change in any of our lives, really. So it's I'm trying to think if there's anything like really specific that would be different. I'm a year older. Oh. I was 34 when we met, and I'm now 35. So there's that.
Clapping for that.
Congrats.
Thank you. Still graying. So there's that. I mean, like I don't really know.
What's been going on with hashtag Todd's ass?
Oh yeah.
You still keeping that up, or have you let the
there was my birthday post, in case you missed that one. That was back in February. So there was that one. There haven't been many more since then, but it was also winter. It's cold in St. Louis. It's cold in St. Louis. Like it's about time to
toast the buns, though. Gotta toast those buns now that you said it was like 105 degrees there today.
Oh man, a nice sear on those.
So crispy.
Oh god, I mean, like today was horribly hot, but thankfully I work indoors, so we have the air pumping all day long, so that was really good. But there was oh my god, so horrible, like sidebar story about the heat. So yesterday, the neighborhood that I'm in right now, there was a power outage. Over 3,000 people were without power.
Oh man!
And yesterday was like in the low 90s. It was like a high of like I think 93 yesterday. Yeah. Power went out for like 2 hours, or no, maybe 3 hours. Came back on and was on for another 2 hours, and then at like 10:30, power went out again. And we had to like try to sleep in the heat. It was
terrible,
horrible.
I would have
horrible.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have my own apartment, so we were able to go over there and sleep there for the night, and then I had to come back the next day. But I'm just like, oh my god, that was a miserable like 3 hours, because I tried to sleep through it because the house had cooled down enough to where I was like really nice and comfy, and I thought maybe it'll stay there for a little while.
Nope.
No. I was very wrong.
Right back up.
Very wrong. It just, oh my god, that was awful.
I'm glad you made it through that, because I don't know if I would have.
Yeah,
I would have perished.
Yeah, I was in an apartment once, and the AC went out, and it was like 85, like getting 90 degrees inside the apartment, like 90 plus, and it was just, you're sitting there sweating. I got a cooler and got all my ice, put the ice in there, and like I had this little fan, and I put the fan face down, and then like I got some cardboard and just like made like a little hole, and I was just sitting there on the couch like just getting a face full of somewhat of cold water, and it was
you make do.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, I mean,
it's horrible though.
So yeah, like as far as like anything that like new that has happened in the 9 months since we've spoken, there's not been a whole lot. Well, I will say Todd and I, our 1 year anniversary was on March 1st. So
Heyo.
Let's go.
We made it there, and we're still going. So yeah, like I mean, that's been really great. So that's been a wonderful thing. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that whole thing.
As you should be.
Yeah.
And I love him. So yeah.
See, you're so giddy when you're talking about it.
Because he's so great. He's wonderful, and he's really sweet, and he makes me crazy every once in a while. But at the same time, I think that he is such a lovely person, and to deal with a person like me at times, you have to be as patient as you can be. And I think that he has exercised more patience with me than I have with other people, or other people have with me. So I mean, he's a wonderful man. I wish that he would do double interview with me and you guys.
One day.
He's not that person, unfortunately. He's not really big into it. So yeah, but I enjoy the podcast, and I enjoy you guys. I think you guys are so much fun. If you ever come to St. Louis, we're going to get drinks. Like, that's happen.
And we're gonna eat so much vanilla ice cream. Like, we'll have a great time. Have an awesome time.
We'll introduce you to some mint ice cream, and you will like it. Right. We'll also introduce you to since it's a St. Louis thing, toasted ravioli. You'll have to
toasted ravioli.
Oh,
yeah. So it's so funny. Like, I didn't realize that was a St. Louis thing until I moved to Florida when I was 12. And it was like, you know, if you mention toasted ravioli, they're like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "You've never had toasted ravioli? Like, it's amazing." So toasted ravioli, Emo's Pizza, you know, the square beyond compare. There are a number of like local St. Louis things that if you ever come here, we can take you around. We don't call Missouri the show me state for nothing.
Hey, well, we're raking in cash these days, so we may just have to dip into the TCAS budget and fly on out there.
Oh yeah, we've done. We'll pull from our mountains of money.
Yeah, what do we have? Almost $10.
Yeah, we're almost at $10. We're almost in the double digits. So let's go, everybody. Oh goodness. Well, maybe Todd can give us some wisdom on how to get some more money in our next segment.
In Todd, we trust.
Yeah, so I mean, Michael said it. This is the segment where you kind of give us advice on how to grow our business, make more money, and become more profitable in the upcoming quarter.
Yeah, you're a new business coach.
All right, hear me out. Pyramid scheme.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
You can only go up. There you go. There's your idea right there. Join a pyramid scheme and you're good. That's what you do.
Scheme and you're good. That's our teaser.
All right, and I think it's about time to give a nod to Todd.
That's not worthy advice.
Yeah, so this is your chance to drop some advice. You gave some splendid advice last time. If you have any life hacks, wisdom, a droplet of inspiration, just
droplet.
Okay. So let's see. Life advice. I feel like the last time I did a life advice, it was very basic. Be yourself and don't be afraid to do that.
But it was good.
I think. Okay. So I think my next bit of life advice would be to. I guess the life advice that I would give would be to make an effort to be more mindful, both of yourself and the people around you and the people in your lives. And being mindful is sort of I try to think of it as sort of an umbrella type of a term, mindfulness, just because of the fact that it incorporates a lot of different things. Mental health is one of those things that, people seem to be talking a lot more about these days, almost to the point of it being annoying. But at the same time, it is something that is very important. So don't be afraid of therapy. I think that everyone could, no matter, even if you feel like you're well adjusted and stable in every possible way, it's always good to check in with someone about anything at any point in time. So don't be afraid of therapy. But also just being, try to do your best to be conscious of the things that you are thinking and that you're feeling and the things that you're going through, and, and being considerate of the people around you. I think that, if this last year has taught us anything, it's that, we as individuals are not the only people that matter in this life. And I think that, it would be virtually impossible to really consider how each word that comes out of your mouth and each action that you take will affect other people, but it doesn't cost you anything to really think about who you are and the choices that you make not only affect yourself but the people around you. So just be mindful. That is my advice for this show. First show, be yourself. This show, be mindful of who that self is.
The third show, I'm not going to be ready for that advice. Just be mindful, leveling up on us. Yeah, mindful. I love that word, mindful.
I do too.
Tattooed on your chest.
Yeah, right. No. My shirt isn't quite as tight.
Oh, I thought you were gonna take a shirt off.
Just rip this open. I just got it.
You don't want to flex your mindfulness. Come on.
Yeah, I can't. I'm just like moving my shoulder up and down. Is that the same as flexing my pecs?
Yeah, don't forget that weak grips sink ships.
That's
Respect
what I've
the
always
barbell.
said. Respect that
All
barbell.
right. Weaker grips sink ships. Yeah, you better deadlift that
That's
shit.
what this crab says.
Be mindful of the barbell, Brad.
Be mindful of targeted ads.
Goodness.
And
Wait,
be
that
mindful
too.
of things such as nods.
Oh.
Is that a transition?
You ready to give it nods to Todd? I think it's some not-worthy advice.
Is it? That's
It
not-
is.
Oh,
And you know what time it is, Brad?
I don't know.
Do you know?
I'm so confused.
Wait, do you know what time it is?
It's
9:51.
time to give a nod to Todd.
Of course.
We should do that more often. Just have really cringy transitions like that.
Wait, we don't already?
No, wait, yeah, that's true.
Oh, cringy.
I will say your transition music is like always on point. So the one before this one
Yes.
was, I don't know why, but it was very Christmassy. I don't know why I felt that
Thank
way,
you.
but it
Oh,
was
yeah,
just like,
the
wait,
little
what's happening right now?
Xylophone.
Something. It was just like, wait, why do I feel like it's about to start snowing?
I mean,
Oh, hey.
they could. I don't know what I'm saying. But anyways,
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Anyways, Todd, thanks so much for coming on the show. Thanks
Yes.
for coming back for round two. And we
Yes,
didn't scare
it
you
was
away.
good to be here for round two. Oh, of
Yeah.
course not. Never. Your Instagram is like one of the most entertaining things I ever watch, ever look at. Like, I especially love all the stories, the interactive stories. That's like my favorite thing. That like I love those. Those are so
you can
much fun.
still be
Especially
on the
like,
show.
Yeah.
especially some of them like that. I'm like, that is like a no-brainer. Like, what? Like, I don't like. There was one that was like, I think it was like a choose your roommate, and it was like Jack Black and someone else. I'm like, who isn't picking Jack Black? Like,
Thank you.
Who are these people?
Thank you.
Like, who are these people?
It was probably me.
It's probably Brad. Yeah, he was that 1%.
I
Yeah,
am the
okay.
1%.
You're up there with Jeffrey Bezos in space.
Call him Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
He's about
Yeah,
to be in the 3% when his divorce finalizes.
Brad, you have some questionable choices. I'm just gonna say that right now. I love you, but oh
It's
my
because
god,
I'm
really?
bald.
You wouldn't pick Jack Black. Jack Black is the best.
Yeah, I forget who the other option was, but yeah, Jack Black is just.
It was like
Smooth.
the other option was like someone who not anyone necessarily terrible, but I'm like, but why?
It was
him?
Jonah Hill.
Like
Oh,
I have it
Yeah,
right
like,
here. Choose
really,
your roommate.
like-
Jonah
come on.
Hill is an American treasure.
So Jack Black is in School of Rock.
Yeah, that's the only movie he's good in.
Shallow
Jack-
Hal.
Jack Black
Shallow Hal is terrible.
Jack-
Year One is terrible.
Year one's not great.
What else? What else has Jack Black been in? He was the voice
a
Kung
ton of
Fu
things.
Panda.
He was in Tropic Thunder, so there's
Which-
that.
Oh yes.
But his role was it was anomalous. Like, he was just there.
Oh,
Right.
please. Like, Jack Black was great in that. He was in School of Rock. He was in, what was that movie? The Cable Guy. He was in...
These auxiliary roles.
he was in
will not stand for this.
the Pick of Destiny. What was that
The
movie?
Pick of
Tenacious D,
Destiny.
The Pick of
Okay.
Destiny.
Tenacious D.
Jumanji?
But that's not...
The sequel to Jumanji, which really wasn't that
Yeah.
great, but he was good in it. So
Yes.
yeah, Jack Black is the man, and he can sing, and he, like, I don't care what anyone says, like, that man, he to me is beautiful, like, facially. I don't know what it is about him. He has always been like my teddy bear crush. Like,
Ooh.
honestly, I love me some Jack Black. I really do.
I will bash him at all costs.
No, but that's,
Yeah, okay.
wow. You just
And don't get me wrong, I don't think that Jonah Hill is bad, but by comparison,
Yeah.
like, would you rather like lay next to Jonah Hill every single night, or would you rather have Jack Black sing you a lullaby when you go to sleep? I mean, come on.
It would be the craziest lullaby ever. It would put you into like a psychopathic dream.
What?
Jonah
You're
Hill's just
no
gonna
fun.
Jonah Hill's just gonna talk to me. And he's probably gonna like.
It's gonna be like ASMR.
No, he's gonna have like good pillow talk. Like, I think he'll lay there and kind of like talk like real life stuff to you. Jack Black's gonna talk about like, 'twas I who effed the dragon. and all these other things.
Yeah, forget that. It's Jack Black all the way.
Twas I.
Sorry.
Well, twas all of our Todd Squad members who are going to go check out Todd Anthony Munson. I was getting ahead of myself here. On his Instagram at TA Muzzle. Check him out. Anywhere else you want the people of the world to find you?
That would be the best place, actually. Because anything that I post on Instagram is also posted on Facebook. So I mean, there's no need to go into both places. So
yeah,
just Instagram. I think it's the best place to go.
Yo, check out.
And also,
Todd.
if I got like a random person to send me a friend request on Facebook that had 0 mutual friends and didn't even live in the same state, I would probably be like, that's a little odd.
Getting scammed.
It's
very different. Facebook versus Instagram. It's like, oh, sweet, a follower. Where on Facebook,
so.
you're like,
who is this person?
You don't know me.
Find me.
It's a distant relative.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing, but
well, man. Well, while you're on there, go ahead and follow at the Toddcast Pod as well. Go ahead, check out our new website not at. You don't have to type the @ sign in. You just say www.thepod. So wait, goodness, at the Toddcastpod.com.
This is the guy you put in charge of our planning.
I can't even. I don't have to communicate the plan. I just have to.
Yeah, I guess.
Write it down. I just can't read it back out to you. But yeah, anyways, follow us on our social media. We're also on TikTok, so that's something. So check that out.
Sweet.
And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Come check the 3 of us out there. See our beautiful faces. See Brad's shiny head. See Todd's.
See him doing this interesting dance. What are you listening to over there, Brad?
Yeah,
I was just listening to Michael's words.
To my words.
Oh, that just got you into the mood. Like, okay.
Interpretive dancing my words.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Well, don't do that. Don't interpret it.
Don't call me that.
Well, while Brad's continuing to interpretively dance, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review the Toddcast on whichever platform you find podcasts. And with that, I'm Michael.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Todd.
Yes! Yo, he was ready.
Yes, I was.